Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
New at 10, there's been an outpouring of sadness, but also fond memories of a Moorhead man known for spreading Christmas cheer throughout the Red River Valley.
60-year-old Jim Frost, better known as the man in the red suit, died yesterday from injuries he sustained in a motorcycle accident. Valley News Team's Courtney Lockie talked with people who say Christmas won't seem the same.
Those who got to share Christmas with Jim Frost say it's going to be a little less jolly without him.
Every year he'd have a scarf or a hat for my kids, and it was even more special because inside he would put "Handmade with Love" by Santa Claus in the year. My kids just love these hats.
Who gave you your hats?
Santa.
Frost was known for dressing up as Santa, spreading cheer to families in the valley like the Hagans. Tuesday's news of his passing spread quickly and was disheartening to many.
He could just bring cheer to anybody who needed it. The perfect Santa. He was Santa.
Bethany Jose worked along Frost's side for years, capturing lasting memories for families during the holidays.
Christmas will not be the same. This loss will be felt by a lot of people.
He had an ID that said that he was Santa Claus, like a legit license. The kids just loved him.
Megan Shaw and others described this Santa's helper as a genuine and selfless man. The tributes continue on social media, where dozens are commenting about the impact Frost left.
Well, I don't think anyone could ever take his place, but like Santa, he's gonna live on in our hearts forever.
In the FM area, Courtney Lockie, Valley News Live.
A memorial for Frost will be set soon.
Crews were called to Grandin, North Dakota late this afternoon to deal with an elevator fire. It was a relatively small fire that was traced to a conveyor inside the building. CHS Sunflower owns the elevator. We're told no one was hurt.
Bismarck Public Schools is sending its elementary students back to the classroom for in-person instruction 5 days a week. The move applies to kindergarten through 5th grade and will begin September 29th. In a letter to parents, the superintendent wrote that the decision is based on the low coronavirus numbers for students in Burleigh County and within Bismarck Public Schools. Grades K through 12 will continue with a hybrid model for now, but officials are creating a plan for those grades to also return for face-to-face instruction. Let's take a look now at the COVID-19 numbers. Minnesota is reporting 389 new cases of COVID-19, along with 15 new deaths. More than 1,800 deaths are attributed to the disease. More than 75,000 people have recovered. In North Dakota, 337 new cases, along with 3 more deaths. The death toll now sits at 160. The active case count is more than 2,300. The daily positivity rate is 5.4%.
Here's a heads up about a scam underway in Ottertail County. Using emails and letters, the scammers were told ask for your full name, date of birth, and bank information. In return, they promise you free money. Authorities are reminding you, don't give out personal information. Instead, call authorities.
Matt Bus is asking for your input to help better the transit system. It comes after a series of investigative stories we did looking at hundreds of complaints regarding bus drivers. The riders we spoke with say there is room for improvement, but they're satisfied with the service.
I think they're doing so great right now with everything being for free and stuff, but the only thing I would suggest would maybe be like a Sunday morning service or something.
I'd like more accurate bus times. Sometimes they don't always come with a scheduled time, and I always have to look at Google to see when they come by.
The deadline for the survey is September 28th. We have a link to it on our website, valleynewslive.com.
Authorities need your help finding a man. 51-year-old Tad Johnson's family reported him missing yesterday. He's 5 feet 9 inches tall, 165 pounds. He has blue eyes and brown hair. He was last seen on August 15th. If you have any information, contact Fargo Police.
Leaders in the Transportation Department say it might be time for an increase in North Dakota's gas tax. It hasn't changed in 15 years. It's currently at 23 cents, but leaders in the State Transportation Department say a small increase in the tax would not only be beneficial, but may be necessary for upkeep on roads and bridges.
We're number 47 in the United States for bridge quality, which means that we actually have bridges that we need to inspect. We're required to now. We're spending millions of dollars this year and next to inspect all of those bridges to find which are so deficient that they have to be replaced.
DOT leaders say many neighboring states have increased their fuel tax rate in the last 5 years.
Earlier this week, prices of U.S. soybean futures rose to their highest level since 2018. The U.S. Ag Department says that Chinese buyers purchased 664,000 tons. And that's good news for North Dakota farmers who have been wondering if China would hold up on their end of a trade deal. Commodity experts say farmers are getting paid the highest amount so far this year for their soybeans. The high demand is coming from the Chinese buyers who committed to buying $12.5 billion worth of American ag goods in 2020.
China has been aggressively honoring phase one. They started in July, and they've been very strong every week, intended to fulfill what is required of them. And so that has elevated us to new cash highs for 2020.
The agreement says China is committed to buying $19.5 billion worth of American ag products next year. As the U.S. works to remain a military powerhouse, U.S. Senator John Hoeven of North Dakota met with the U.S. Space Force Chief of Staff to talk about how the state could help the new Armed Forces branch. The senator says Space Force could build off of missions already in place at the Grand Forks Air Force Base and the Cavalier Air Force Station. He added that UND's partnership with NASA and the Department of Defense can help with the technology and other work development.
President Donald Trump will be in Bemidji next Friday to host Great American Comeback events. It'll be at Bemidji Aviation Services. The event starts at 4 p.m., but doors will open at 1. After that, the president will travel to Wisconsin, where he will host an event at 7.
While the initial move to defund the Minneapolis Police Department is on hold, staffing there remains a problem. Since the death of George Floyd, the city's police force has continued to struggle with its public image. 20 neighborhoods make up the 5th precinct, and according to reports, their bare minimum staffing can be as low as 8 officers a shift. Some area business owners don't believe city leaders are hearing the cries of people who live in areas where crime is a problem.
We're just running the police we do have ragged at this point, and they need their rest. You know, we need some kind of help from someone.
The Minneapolis Police Department is also dealing with officers who have been exposed to COVID-19. The department is reassigning officers to other precincts as needed.
North Dakota voters will decide in November whether state lawmakers should have the power to review and approve citizen-initiated constitutional amendments. An opposition group says it will effectively give lawmakers veto power over what citizens want. Supporters say the move was inspired by successful ballot measures funded by out-of-state interests. The U.S. Senate failed to advance a Republican stimulus bill to address some of the economic impacts of the pandemic. It comes 4 months after House Democrats passed their $3 trillion plan. The Senate version was narrower and would have cost about 1/10 of the House's proposal. It would have provided $300 in extra weekly unemployment benefits, but did not include another stimulus check for individuals.
What are your plans for Halloween? Many are still unsure about how the pandemic could affect local festivities. Valley News Team's Devin Fry spoke with one group which is moving forward with its Halloween tradition.
The temperature's starting to fall. We're starting to see pumpkins in stores, and Halloween stores are starting to open, which can only mean one thing: spooky season is almost upon us. Halloween is only 51 days away, and many are still unsure about how the COVID-19 pandemic will affect this year's festivities. So far here locally, numerous events have been canceled, including the haunted corn maze in Moorhead and trick-or-treating at the West Acres Mall. On a national scale, some areas are even cracking down on trick-or-treating entirely, with LA County in California urging residents to not trick-or-treat this year due to the pandemic. We reached out to our viewers to see if their plans have been affected this Halloween. The majority of the comments were still saying they plan on holding their Halloween traditions, with some saying that they'll be altering their plans. One local group that will be going forward with their Halloween tradition is the Haunted Farm in Moorhead. This year, the farm will be requiring masks and enforcing social distancing guidelines to ensure the safety of their guests.
This year when this virus came around, I figured we wouldn't be opening. But working with the county and the health department, we worked out a way that we would be able to stay open.
Although Night Guard was unsure earlier this year if they'd be able to carry on their annual event, he says they're excited to welcome people back onto their haunted grounds.
I love it. It's my hobby. I work on stuff mostly year-round, but it takes about a month to set up, and then we're only open 10 days, but we have a lot of fun with it.
He also says that he still expects a big crowd for this year's event, but feels confident that they can open the farm safely.
I think we're even going to be more people this year because people are looking for something to do, something they can get out. And we're mostly outside, so we're in good shape.
Reporting from Moorhead, Devin Fry, Valley News Live.
And county officials have not released any specific guidelines on Halloween safety yet. The haunted farm is set to open on October 2nd.
Later on Valley News Live at 10, meet the Minnesota mountain dog that has won over the hearts of his neighbors by thwarting crime.
But first, Hutch's weather planner so you can be ready for the weekend.